let's go, let's go.
It's summertime, which means visiting theme parks is at an all-time high. During this season, families, friends, and just about anybody is visiting theme parks and water parks for the summer. And in typical theme park fashion, whether it's for a vacation visit or just for the weekend, the whole point of going to a theme park is for the attractions. People go to theme parks to ride the crazy attractions they have to offer and face their fears on some record breakers. But what if you're scared of attractions? What if you're the person that cancels out on an attraction in the last second because the fear overwhelms you? Whether because you think it's too unsafe, too much, or too scary, you decide to cancel and not ride the attraction that everyone else is doing. And fun fact, it's alright. Everyone has been through it, whether you're a coaster enthusiast or not. Some rides can be very intimidating, but what if I told you there's a way to conquer your fear on these roller coasters and actually manage to ride even the most extreme rides of the park? And in today's video, we're going to talk about exactly that, specifically with the attractions at Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California. This historic theme park, which has been here for now over 100 years, is packed full with amazing attractions, from the iconic Ghost Rider to the very unique Hang Time. And to some, these coasters seem like too much, but we're going to look at all the roller coasters in Knott's Berry Farm and explain why you are able to ride them. That way you can conquer your fear on whatever attraction it is at Knott's Berry Farm, and you'll be able to ride everything there. But before we get into today's video, if you're new here, welcome to the channel for all those thrill seekers. On JB Thrills, we make all sorts of content related to theme parks and thrill rides, no matter where it's located or what type of attraction. If it's a thrill, it's covered on this channel. And for the Texas enthusiast specifically, if you're looking for some Texas theme park news, this is your source for all those Texas thrills. So if you're interested, you should definitely hit the like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell to know when new videos come out on my channel. We have a lot in store for the summer and you won't want to miss it. Anyways, let's get into today's video. Being afraid of roller coasters or attractions is the most normal thing to happen. Even the bravest of enthusiasts can be intimidated of a lot of roller coasters. But there are ways to conquer your fear of the attraction. And for me personally, one method is to essentially analyze the coaster before you do it. Think about why it makes you scared and realize it's actually not that bad. Because 99% of the time, people tend to freak out at the moment, but once the attraction is over and they've done it, they'll want to do it all over again. So when it comes to the attraction of Knott's Berry Farm, we're going to look at the scariest rides in the park and essentially break it down and remove any fear you have about these attractions. Before we start though, one very important disclaimer is that to never force yourself to do something you don't want to do. If you generally don't want to do it at all, then just don't do it. It's everyone's personal opinion, and overall it's up to you. And I'm specifically making this video to just analyze all these attractions and give you the best option on whether to decide to ride them or not. It all comes down to you. Anyways, let's talk about the attractions at Knott's Berry Farm. Knott's has about 40 different attractions with 16 different roller coasters. And to prevent this video from being 1 hour long, we're not going to break down every attraction at Knott's Berry Farm. Instead, we're going to mention the most feared attractions at Knott's Berry Farm, which means that all water rides, kiddie attractions, and any ride that's considered for families will not be included. Also, the list of the attractions are in no particular order. So why don't we start with the first attraction, which is actually the very first attraction you see pulling into the parking lot, Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is a large wooden roller coaster built in 1998. It stands at a max height of 117 feet with a max speed of 54 miles per hour. And yes, this coaster may seem like much and very intimidating considering its large hills and fast pace. But actually, if you want to conquer your fears of riding bigger attractions, this is the perfect coaster to start with, besides the family coasters. First off, this coaster doesn't go upside down, and a lot of people's fears is the fact that you're going upside down with nothing but a restraint. But Ghost Rider is not like that. Instead, all it does is go up and down, intertwining underneath the coaster and around, and the most extreme part is honestly the drop. If you're scared of the high speeds of the attraction, I would definitely recommend riding in the front, and that's because it actually goes slower in the front than it does in the back. This was in fact scientifically proven because the coaster cars actually pull each other when it goes around the track. If you sit in the back, you will be pulled over the lift hill. If you don't want to go extremely fast, I would sit by the front, even if you're scared of seeing the track. The last scariest part of this attraction is the fact that it can be considered a little bit shaky, but don't worry, it's a wooden coaster. Typically, wooden coasters will be a little bit rattly, and it's all part of the experience. Now of course, some can be very rough, But from personal experience, Ghost Rider isn't that bad. I would say Judge Ray Scream on Over Texas is way worse. But overall, this is a good starter coaster to conquer your fears, and it's a great way to start your day at Knott's Berry Farm. Now what about the next attraction you see while walking into the park? Silver Bullet, the icon of Knott's Berry Farm. Now this coaster can be seen very intimidating for a lot of people. After all, it has a total of 6 inversions, has a height of 146 feet, and reaches a speed of 55 miles per hour. And it's an invert, a very unique style of roller coaster that's not the same as the typical roller coaster you would know. For those who don't know, an invert is a coaster that dangles underneath the track. So essentially you're hanging below the coaster and it simulates the feeling of flying a lot better. Hence why you see these models all themed to either Batman or airplanes. So how can you conquer this insane roller coaster? Well, here's a few things to note before you ride. If you're scared of the typical ideal that you're gonna fall out of the attraction, like in that scene from Final Destination 3, or that the coaster is unsafe, here's some things to put you at ease. First off, it has an over-the-shoulder restraint, which means instead of a typical lap bar, you have something that covers your entire chest. It kinda keeps you in place when doing all those crazy turns and twists. Not to mention this coaster is located at Knott's Berry Farm, which is an actual theme park compared to some random sketchy fair. Most accidents you hear about come from a place that don't enforce safety regulations, so you shouldn't be afraid of any of the attractions that are in Knott's Berry Farm, as well as any park that actually has a name to it, like Six Flags or Cedar Point. Regardless of that, you might be scared of other things. For example, the intense loops, the fact that it's a very fast roller coaster. But actually it's better if the coaster is fast, because when you're going upside down, you actually won't feel anything. Sure, you'll see it if you have your eyes open, but the fast pace will make the inverting go away in just a few seconds. And this is one of those coasters that go by so quickly, when it finishes you'll be like, that's it? Because yes, it's a very fun attraction, and there's a reason why a lot of people encourage riding Silver Bullet. It's one of the best inverts in America, and if you're gonna ride one, I would ride Silver Bullet. And if you're still scared about the restraint being loose on you, or not being secure, there's a testing seat outside the attraction, so you can feel safe. Which goes for a lot of different attractions in the park that offer a test seat, so you can feel secure before you go on. And just like that, Silver Bullet is not that bad of a coaster. Now how about a very interesting type of coaster, like Hang Time, which literally messes with your fears. This coaster is an infinity coaster created by manufacturer Gerstlauer, and it has a height of 150 feet with a speed of 57 miles per hour and 5 inversions. Not to mention, it has one of the steepest drops in America. Yes, this coaster is very different than Silver Bullet. It does not have an over-shoulder restraint. Instead, it has a clamshell restraint, which can feel very insecure to many people. Not to mention, the coaster has a vertical lift hill, which in itself is already intimidating, because it's really not normal. And then when you reach the top, the coaster actually holds you before the steep drop to make you feel like you're about to fall over the edge. So how can you conquer Hang Time? Well, if you notice, the scariest parts of the attraction is solely the beginning. The rest of the attraction is chock full of inversions and twists. But actually that's one of the most fun parts of the ride. The scariest part is the build-up of going up a vertical lift hill at a high height, then holding over the edge with a restraint that'll make you feel like you'll fall out. But remember, sometimes coasters can be designed to scare you this way, but it doesn't mean that it's not safe. Plus, that whole scary build-up is only a minute of the attraction. It'll go by very quickly, and once it's over, the attraction will be amazing. The twists and turns make this attraction very fun to do, and it gives you a hang time like the name. A unique experience you can't really feel unless you ride the ride. And compared to other roller coasters, it's more of a fun factor compared to an extreme factor. And finally, for the loose feel lap bars, I would recommend either trying out the test seat before riding, or if you want, when you board the attraction, tighten it as far as you can. Although I feel like it suffocates some of the fun. But again, it's up to you, and it's your experience. Now what about an actual extreme attraction like Accelerator? This coaster stands at 205 feet, goes at 85 miles per hour, and has a really high speed launch. Now currently it's down, but in the case that it's open, I would definitely ride it for these reasons. First of all, the ride experience is not that bad. It does not go upside down. So in terms of extremity, really it's just the launch. Yes, it's a very forceful launch, but when it reaches the peak, there's nothing more extreme about it. Also, it does not go that high. There's way more extreme rides like King.com or Top Thrill Dragster, which is the way bigger version of Accelerator. So honestly, it's a perfect attraction to work yourself up. And secondly, it's a rare credit. There's not many intimate accelerators, and this coaster is rarely operational. I mean, like I said, right now it's down. So if you catch it open, you need to do it. Compared to the other coasters at Knott's Berry Farm, this one's the shortest, and it offers less threatening elements. Really, it's just about the fun of going extremely fast. So again, it's not that bad. Next up, we have a non-coaster, which is Supreme Scream, an S&S drop tower. Many get the fear of heights, and drop tower can be too much for those type of people. Not to mention, drop towers kind of pry on your fear by adding lots of suspenseful moments. For example, the suspense of getting launched into the air, the suspense of slowly coming to a stop before dropping 252 feet, and the suspense of how safe is this ride when you're up that high in the air. But as someone who has been on plenty S&S drop towers, they're all pretty much the same, and the scariest part is just the suspense. The launch is not that bad, and in fact it's very smooth. The scariest part of the attraction is waiting for the final drop, which once it happens, you'll get immediate relief and realize it wasn't that bad. In fact, it's a great way to get all the views of Knott's Berry Farm. And sure, you can do the Sky Cabin, and it's a good alternative, but what better way to get the views with also getting an extreme ride experience? Drop towers are amazing, and I definitely recommend them. It's a really short experience, and the scariest parts are even shorter. As for the last attraction we need to talk about, we have Soul Spin. This one's more of an all bark and no bite. Yes, it looks immediately insane, the fact that you're flipping upside down again and again, spinning around in a crazy thrill contraption. But as for the actual ride experience, it's more of a party in the sky, as I would describe it. You're rocking back and forth, possibly flipping around, and what makes this ride even more fun is if you do it with friends. In fact, one bonus tip to conquer your fear on all the attractions at Knott's Berry Farm is visit the park with friends or someone you trust. These automatically make the attractions less scary since you're not alone riding an attraction for the very first time. Overall, it's just better with friends or family members. Finally, if you still decide that these attractions are too much, there are some good alternatives. So here's a rapid list real quick. Sierra Sidewinder, Jaguar, Pony Express, Montezuma if it's open, La Revolucion, Coast Rider, and Timbermountain Log Ride. All these attractions are considered for families, but still offer a little bit of thrill factor. Essentially, if you do these first before the bigger attractions, it'll build up your tolerance for high thrill. Anyways, just like that, we covered all the thrilling attractions of Knott's Berry Farm, and hopefully you gain a new perspective on these rides, so you're not afraid of them the next time you go. And if you're planning a visit for Knott's Berry Farm, I would go with the mindset that you can ride anything, because you can. Thrill rides are called thrill rides for a reason, and they might look intense, but they're actually a whole lot of fun. And something you shouldn't miss just because fear is in the way, especially when you go into a park like Knott's Berry Farm, which offers top tier attractions. Anyways, what do you think? Let me know your opinions on the attractions of Knott's Berry Farm in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this type of video, like and subscribe, so hopefully we can make this one a series. If it's popular, I'll make one on Magic Mountain as well. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is JB Thrills, signing out.